In the meantime, we'll keep you occupied for those sport lovers. Earlier today, a press conference was held welcoming Ryan Silverfield as the new head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. A look there in Fayetteville, that camera view from KATV, the local Little Rock station here, is that you see them taking a picture with that jersey. They answered plenty of questions from the press addressing the changes. This comes after Sam Pittman was fired back in late September after he led the team to a beginning of a losing season. 2-3 was that record when he was fired. That's what many people say is the reason that he was fired. As you continue to take a look there at that camera just before that press conference got underway, as they take a picture with that jersey. Let's listen in.
From Hunter, and hopefully stay with Coach Silverfield, and we'll take questions.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. And I think it's appropriate in an event like this that we take a moment to recognize a person that I know was a colleague and a friend to so many in this room, Nate Allen, who passed away earlier this week. This would have been a special event for Nate for sure, and his presence here today is truly missed, and I know that you all will join me in keeping Nate's family in our thoughts and prayers today and during the course of this week. As I talk to coaches around the nation about this opportunity, it reaffirmed what I believe about our program. We can build a championship football program here at the University of Arkansas. The top-down alignment of a new financial commitment from our Board of Trustees, the university, the Department of Athletics, and so many generous donors that have taken place over the past several weeks was the first step to us being all in on this goal. This financial commitment will push us to the top half in key SEC items such as our assistant coaches pool, our strength and conditioning staff, our support staff pool, and our talent acquisition through revenue sharing and legitimate NIL. With the financial picture coming together, the next step was finding a head coach that was all in. I know for many in the Razorback Nation, coaching searches can last what seems like a lifetime, especially one that starts mid-season. There's the passion of our fans, the speculation, the debate, the misinformation, and a lack of credible information because of the tight searches that I run. And that can make 60 days seem like an eternity for Razorback fans, I know. But for me, this was not a race, but it was important that I took the time to find a great coach and to identify a coach who truly wanted to be here, a coach who clearly understands this state and the importance of our football program to this state, and a coach who shares my expectations and the expectations that we all share for the Razorback football program to compete for and win championships. Ryan was the first coach I spoke to in October, and he was the last coach I spoke to in November. And from our first conversation through the last, he made it clear to me that he and his family wanted to be at the University of Arkansas, and they wanted to be a part of the winning history and tradition of Razorback football. He has a lifelong passion for football and for coaching. He began his coaching career at the age of 18 as a student assistant at Hampton-Sydney College, and over the course of the next 25-plus years, he worked his way from those D3 roots to be a high school head coach, a college assistant coach, an NFL assistant coach, an offensive coordinator and head coach at the University of Memphis, and now the head coach of our Arkansas Razorbacks. As I spoke to people I trust in coaching circles around the country, I could not get anyone to say anything negative about Ryan. Everyone raved about the type of person he was, his character, his work ethic, the culture he builds, the love he has for his players, and that he's a great football coach. He was 29-9 over his last three seasons at Memphis, including a 4-1 record versus Power 4 teams. His 50 wins over the past 6 seasons are among the nation's top 10s for a head coach at the same school during that same time period, and he never had a losing season as a head coach at the University of Memphis. As you get to know Ryan, you'll see the traits that I had a chance to see in him during the search process. He is a great and genuine person. He has an incredible work ethic, He is a builder of relationships, as he quickly demonstrated in the last 72 hours as a recruiter, and he can build a winning football culture and a championship program here at the University of Arkansas. And I know that him and his family are excited to join our Razorback family and that they are indeed all in. Ryan,
Thanks, sir.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Razorback Nation. Thank you all for being here. It's an absolute incredible honor to be sitting here in front of you today as a head football coach at the University of Arkansas. Those words carry weight. This program was built on toughness, pride, that stretches from the hills of Fayetteville to Moore Memorial Stadium and Little Rock. That is what drew me here. Before I go any further, I want to thank Chancellor Robinson, Hunter Yurachek, the Board of Trustees, and all of those in the search committee and everyone else who believed in me to be the head football coach at the University of Arkansas. I want to thank my wife, Katie. Those two beautiful girls sitting right there, Adeline and Cecilia. Anybody that knows a coach's wife understands the long nights, the countless questions, the uncertainties, the love, the patience, and Katie has existed every single one of those. Her love and passion for me and for the game of football stands tall. She's given me the greatest gift that any father could ever ask for, and two girls. And the love for those two, when I look at them, it's what I'm all about, family and football. Adeline and Cecilia will make you guys very, very proud. And man, y'all look good in those outfits. That is who I am, family and football. I told the team when I met with them this Sunday that we will have to earn everything we get. Every win, every championship, every ounce of respect, we will have to earn it. Nothing is going to be given to us here, and that is how we earn it. So how do we earn it? How do we win an SEC championship or championships? How do we win a national title? We have to earn it. We have to empty the tank. We have to attack the work. We will respond to everything with toughness. We will never back down. We will guard our integrity, and we will do it together. If you listen carefully, that spells out earn it. That is our standard that we are setting today. We are all in, and we will earn it every day. Because this is Arkansas, this is a state not built on shortcuts or flash. It is built on early mornings, people that don't make excuses, and communities that fight for each other. From Frank Burrell's national championship team to the 1964 squad that set the standard. From Darren McFadden electrifying fans to Woo Pig Sooie throughout the Razorbacks. This program is built on pride, resilience, and toughness. And it's time to bring it all back. Here's my promise. We will be relentless. We will play tough and smart. We will do things the right way, and we will earn it. To our fans from Fayetteville, to Fort Smith, to Little Rock, to Texarkana, Fort Smith, Pine Bluff, and all the towns in between, we need you with us. We need you to be all in. We want you to look at this team and say, they fight like Arkansas. Being all in together, we will rebuild it, we will earn it, and we will make this state proud. Thank you for being here today, and Woo Pig Sooie. Now, well, I think I got one more thing. Quincy? Quincy, you're all in for your senior year? Yeah. Let's go. KJ, you got something for us?
I'm all in too.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Some good news to get this day going along with the press conference. So
You hadn't shared that with me. That's big news.
that's big news. Yeah, I was good. Keeping it on the edge. Let's go.
All right, we'll turn it over to questions. Trey, I think you've got to lead us off, right?
Well, I think I speak for everybody, say welcome, Coach. I'm curious, Hunter, you said this is the first name that you talked to. I was wondering how that first contact went with both of you guys, and then just kind of the conversations that went on throughout that, and I'm sure you interviewed several candidates also along the way.
Yeah, I mean, the long runway of almost 60 days allowed me to talked to informally to about 25 to 30 coaches during the course of that time, narrow that field down to 8 or 9 that we had some very formal interviews with, and narrow that down to 3 that we had some intensive in-home visits with, and then narrowed that 3 down to 2 that we really zeroed in on that we thought both would be great coaches. The first conversation for Ryan and I was by way of Zoom, and we connected with our small college roots, him having been at Hampton-Sydney, me at Guilford College. They compete against each other in the ODAC, and that was a common bond for him and I right out of the gate. But I could tell Trey that him and I would work well together, and I think that's really important for an AD and a head football coach, because you got to get in that bunker together, and you got to build this program together, and that's the only way that truly works.
Your impressions of the first contact and the conversations that followed?
Well, listen, I've understood how much this football program, this university mean to this state. And I knew that from my, 10 years. And then having the opportunity, there were people that called and programs that called in universities, but when the University of Arkansas called, I got excited. Because I understand the passion, like I talked about, all the things that make this place so special. And so the opportunity to visit with Hunter, and really just to get to know each other on the surface and to talk about things, talk about his beliefs, his core values, what he wanted for this program, it aligned directly with me. And as Hunter just mentioned, that is so important, right? Because I was so fortunate to be at a place that I found special in Memphis for 10 years. But to me, to take that next step, it was important that I aligned with the athletic director, that we shared some common things, some beliefs that stand on the right type of merits of what we want this thing to look like. And so initially just very pleased, and I said this is an opportunity that if it so happens to go, I'm all for it.
You've had a lot on your plate, obviously, with the recruiting and talking to all these players individually and stuff. I don't even know if you've finished that yet, but you've also got to hire a staff, and I'm sure you've talked to guys, and you probably bringing some people from Memphis. I was wondering where you are with that process, when you would like to have the staff complete.
Yeah, Trey, it's the wrinkles on my eyes are probably from lack of sleep between Hunter and I. We were joking around last night that I don't know if either of us are getting much these days, but that's a great thing because we're pouring into things that are important to us and that matter. And obviously hit the ground running, like I mentioned at the basketball game last night. From the moment I stepped foot, getting the recruits, the right ones, right? Some of these great ones in state to stay at home, and that was important to me, and I know it's important to our great fans. But then, part of it has been putting that staff together. And so in between phone calls, in between meeting with the players, I've met with every scholarship level player so far and had one-on-one conversations face-to-face, because that's important to me, is understanding who we are and what we're about and what else we need to do and what my job as a head coach is to improve this place for these guys, especially those that are coming back and mean so much to this program. And then the staff is coming together nicely. Obviously, a lot can't be shared publicly until they're sitting here in their offices, but I can tell you this, fans and media like you're going to be blown away by the staff. It's going to be a bunch of high-character coaches. Coaches are going to love the players. They're going to pour into them. They're going to love this community. They're excited to be here, that want to rebuild this thing the right way and know how special Arkansas is going to be. So we're going to bring in a bunch of guys and a bunch of people that are going to make everyone really, really proud.
Hunter, you've mentioned expanded financial commitment. Details, though. Can you give details as to what that looks like?
Matt, I think it's our competitive advantage not to give details of what that is, other than to tell you that it is a significant investment in all aspects of our football program that will move us to the top half of spending in all those categories I mentioned in the Southeastern Conference. And I don't believe we need to be at the top of spending. We need to be somewhere where we're really competitive, and Ryan and I are on the same page with where we are. It allows him to go out and hire the assistant coaches that he believes he needs to hire to build a championship program, and to invest in our revenue sharing and legitimate NIL to make sure that we acquire the best talent for our roster.
Ryan, for you, how important was it for you to hear those words as you went through the interview process?
Well, one of the things that, and Hunter had these discussions early on is, listen, give us a chance. Give us a fighting chance, and I promise you we're going to win a lot of football games and do it the right way. And I think I appreciated that, because like you said, we don't have to be at the top. You give us a fighting chance, we are. But this day and age, we also understand how important it is, right? Doing things the right way, being able to build the right staff, being able to provide for our players in this new age of college football. I always look at those. A lot of head coaches look at other things as challenges. I look at them as opportunities for us moving forward. But we know, and that's part of it. And part of my job as a head football coach is to assist Hunter and the rest of the athletic department to see what else we can go and do and out there. And I'll just say this, over the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of excitement about what's going on, and that's going to allow us to continue to build this program from every infrastructure, with whether it's resources, whether it's just the excitement, the belief, season tickets. We're going to keep pushing that right direction.
And Hunter, for you, in the middle of looking for a coach, you took on the chairmanship of the playoff committee. Logistically, how did that affect the search? And then did you have to did your higher ups need some assurance that you were going to be able to balance those correctly?
I mean, the benefit of being the chair and just on the CFP selection committee is I'm required to watch a significant amount of football during the course of the week. And so I was able to watch football, evaluate coaches, evaluate how their teams played, because I was required in my commitment to the CFP to do that. So it allowed me the opportunity to really see how coaches perform, their demeanor on the sidelines, how hard their teams play on both sides of the ball. And I was able to do both of those because I have an incredible staff, our senior administration, our support staff, all of our head coaches. I mean, they just do an incredible job, and they allow you to step away from the day-to-day responsibilities of an athletic director and know that everything's going to get done because just the people behind you that work so incredibly hard to make sure that this runs when I have to step away and do, whether it's the CFP duties or I'm away on the head coaching search trail.
Yeah. Hunter, on the new and significant financial resources,
Yes.
I'm wondering, the fans want to know, how much is on hand, how much is committed, how much is still to go? Where do you stand?
We're not to the finish line, but I will tell you from a fundraising standpoint, we're off to a great start. What the athletic department is going to commit is significant, and that's how we're going to kind of reallocate some of the dollars that we have. The university, through a direction of the board, is going to make a commitment to our football program as well, and all of that's significant. I don't want to tie a specific dollar amount to any of that because I don't want to limit what we can do, and also I want to make sure that we have a competitive advantage. I think once you put your financials out there and tell other schools what you're doing, then it allows them the opportunity to come meet you where you are or exceed where you're at.
Ryan, a lot of head coaches came here before you that did not win. Why is it that you can come in and build a winning program here?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, first and foremost, it's always going to start with the players. And, we got gentlemen here today that are going to be committed to doing it the right way, that believe. And that was so fortunate for me, like just immediately understanding what we have on this roster and going out and finding. I think you guys got to see the work that could be done in 24 hours. Give me 24 days. Give me 240 days. Give me 24 years. All right, and you're going to see a winning program. And I think that can happen immediately. It's not one of these things where we're sitting here saying, hey, Hunter, I need 3 years to rebuild this. No, that we can start rebuilding the culture the moment we step down, the moment I had the opportunity to sit face-to-face with these guys and talk to them and see what they're all about and tell them what I'm all about and how we're going to do this thing together. And I firmly believe it starts with the players in the locker room. That everybody always says, Ryan, tell me about your culture. What's it like? What's it mean to be all in? And I always say, go see the players in the locker room. Go see those players that have been over to my house, the people that my wife has got to know and to pour into as well. And that's what it's all about. And the staff we're going to be able to put together. There are so many things about the state of Arkansas, so many things about this university, and so many things about this football program that are going to set us up for success. All right? There's a proof behind this program, the way we're going to work. We're going to outwork everybody in this country. Okay? And our players are going to believe in that. We're going to do it the right way. We're going to build an excellent culture, a sustainable one, year in, year out, and we're going to make our fans very, very proud.
You got a first-hand look at Arkansas football this year.
Yes, sir.
And that was basically the story of the season. Did not close the game out. How do you get from that point to winning a ton of games?
Yeah, I think part of that is, just finding ways. And, listen, at Memphis this past year, we found ways to finish some games and we found some ways not to. And that's the nature of college football. The margin for error continues to shrink, right? And just, brief synopsis of what I saw from Arkansas is, we have to find ways to be more disciplined. Right, whether that's penalties, all those things. I think just the leadership, right? And a lot of the players have come to my office and said, Coach, I think we want to step the leadership. Okay, well, good. That has to start right now. right? We can't wait till we get back on January 14th. That has to start right now, and guys buying into the way we're going to do things. I think the way you condition in the offseason, the way you condition during the season, what does that look like? A great understanding of situational football. Now, ultimately, we look at, I don't get much into statistics, but you want to talk about ball security and turnover margin. I think that's been an issue. In Memphis, we were, over the last 10 years, we're one of the best teams in the country at turnover margin, significantly more so the last 5 years. And that's important. That's how you win those games. And then finally getting guys to believe, guys that are going to be resilient, guys that are going to finish and fight every single play. And if you do that, you give yourself a chance.
Hey Ryan, Jackson Fuller, Southwest Times Record. What will you be valuing most in assembling your staff? Is it SEC experience, your own personal relationships, or how are you going about that in terms of what you're valuing?
Yeah, Jackson, listen, I always have valued experience, and I think that's important, but most importantly, great coaches and great leaders of men. And you can say, well, that sounds like coach speak. That's not. Because I believe that how you do anything is how you do everything. And we're going to find coaches that are going to truly pour into these guys. And they may think it's corny, but I'm going to tell them, these coaches are going to love them. They're going to hold them accountable, okay, to everything these guys say they want to do. And they're going to make sure they achieve exactly what we say we're putting out there. And we talk about standards and all those things, but coaches are going to set the standard and push the players to meet that standard. And look, there's coaches that are coming aboard that have SEC experience. All right, they'll be here before you know it, and we'll be able to talk about them and write about them probably the next time we all get together. There's some coaches that have some NFL experience. There's some coaches of various backgrounds, coaches I've worked for before, coaches that are going to make sure the lights stay on in this building, whatever the hell it takes. So all sorts. But, I can't wait for you guys to meet those people that are going to be with us, and it's going to be very, very exciting times.
Hunter, another financials question. I know you won't give us the details, but when what can you point to fans and say, right here is evidence that we have stepped up our financial game in the SEC?
It will come when he announces some of the people on his staff. That will be the first piece, and then when you see how our roster comes together after the transfer portal officially opens in January, you see we've got a couple of young men in here that are coming back. That's a part of the financial commitment that we've made into our football program to be able to retain those high caliber, very talented young men that we want to be a part of our program and the leaders of our program. And so I think when you look at what the staff looks like, the support staff as well, and then the players that become a part of this program, that will show you the financial commitment we've made to our football program.
Hunter, sorry, another financial question.
Go ahead. Sure.
If I understood you earlier, you said there were going to be some reallocation of funding within the department. Where is it going to be reallocated from? Is it other sports, or kind of how is that going? Or is there another revenue source coming in? Or
Yes, and yes. I mean, just a couple of different revenue sources that we're looking through, both through our foundation and through the athletic department, and then just how we reallocate money that we're currently spending within our department, whether that's from a salary standpoint, an operational standpoint. But we feel like we can do some things differently to be more efficient, that we can reallocate more dollars to our football program.
And then also looking over the term sheet for Coach Silverfield, I noticed that the buyout, it's not the tiered one that you had for Coach Pittman based on winning percentage. I'm curious what the reasoning was behind that.
It's Coach Pittman didn't have the same agent to start out with that Ryan does now. And so not many agents will advise their coaches to accept that buyout the way we had it set up. It was much more favorable to the institution. I think this is kind of a middle ground, that it's favorable to the coach and favorable to the institution.
And then, Coach, for you, I noticed that Scott Gasper is going to be a guy that's going to be following you over. I'm curious, kind of what role did he have with you at Memphis, and kind of how do you envision his role helping you here at Arkansas?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what exactly is I'm allowed to talk about, because some things are certain. But there will be people joining us from Memphis. Some will have different titles, some will have different roles. But there are so many great people there. Like, I wouldn't be sitting here today if it weren't for that great staff at the University of Memphis and all those people, right? I think about 27 years of coaching, all the people that allowed me to get here today. But listen, as things come out, as people are able to get their contracts under, and we'll be able to discuss them at plenty. And I'll be thrilled to make time to kind of discuss the wonderful people that are going to be joining us here in Fayetteville.
Christina Long from WholeHogSports.com. Heard one of your roles at Memphis when you were an assistant coach was some involvement in fundraising. Is that something that you kind of talked to Hunter about in the interview process, and something you plan on using here?
Yeah, listen, first off, we know as a head coach, you have to wear every hat, right? Whether that's picking up trash, whether that's being a CEO and fundraising, whether that's getting my hands in the dirt and teaching a lineman, make sure they're stepping the right direction. But that was part of something that I took pride in. I understand the way college football is going, right, towards the NFL model, all these things, but you still always have to fundraise. I don't care if you're a head high school coach in Savannah, Georgia, or the head coach of Arkansas. That's part of what is needed. And until they say, hey, we're just going to play for free, I don't know if, and we're not playing with monopoly money, there's always going to be the need for fundraising. And so I told them, and I've told his staff already, it's my job to help assist that. And, we can do that first and foremost by winning football games. But I'm happy to go knock on doors, to go meet some of these people. And I think part of that is just building the relationship, right? I can't wait for so many of our great fans, so many of our great donors, so many people that have already stepped up and said, hey, I want to help out. But just building those relationships and let them understand what I'm all about, what our young men are all about, who they truly are. And that's what's been so special to me. Like, you sit there and you have a narrative of coaches, of what you think they are and who they're about. You have a narrative of what you think of a program and the players. And then I have the opportunity to sit down with them face to face and get to know them and get, to tell that story. And that helps the fundraising as well. And I can't wait to develop so many of those relationships. But yes, long-winded answer, that was part of what I did at Memphis, and we're going to go to it full force here.
Hunter, you'll never guess what this is about, but are there plans to implement a student athletic fee as part of this new financial commitment?
There is not. That is not something that at least has been discussed from an athletic department standpoint. If that's something the board and or the university decides that they feel is the right direction to head, that would be their call, not the athletic department call. But from an athletic department standpoint, we have not discussed that.
And then to you, just what would a successful first year of the Silverfield era look like?
It's already off to a great start. When you talk about the recruiting class, the kids that he flipped in the first 24 to 48 hours, the young men that he's convinced that this is the right program to be a part of, and just putting this team together, putting this staff together, and really giving our fan base some hope for the future of our football program and what that can look like will be a successful first year. And let me touch on his fundraising prowess. He doesn't even know this yet. So he was in the courtside club last night, and he was doing what he does in building relationships with donors right off the bat. He walked away from one donor. The donor came up to me and committed to a 7-figure gift to our football program, just with a brief 5-minute encounter. He didn't even know he'd done that.
Like I got to go meet some more people. I'll see you.
I think you see kind of the personality he has, and he can quickly build relationships and sell his vision to our fan base.
Yeah, Hunter, just following up on that example, how did the financial backing come together over the past few months with board, donors, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the board's had some significant discussions internally as a board, so I can't speak to those discussions. I was not a part of that. I provided some financial data to them. They asked the university to make a commitment. They asked the athletic department to reallocate dollars to make a more significant commitment. And then Ryan White, the executive director of the foundation, and his team and myself, we've been working for the last 30 to 45 days on that fundraising trail.
What was the process like? How long was it to kind of do that review of the department's finances and allocating the money?
It's been very quick because when you're out looking in a football coaching search, I mean, football coaches want to know what their assistant coaches pool is going to be. They want to know what their support staff pool is going to be. They want to understand the revenue sharing and the NIL opportunities before they're going to dive headfirst into a job. And so we had to put all that together and make a commitment to that pretty quickly.
Ryan, big Arkansas senior class, and also just the day and age of the transfer portal. How many spots are you expecting to be filled by your Memphis players?
I can't even comment on that. But listen, we dealt with 78 new players this past year at the University of Memphis, and we know there's going to be turnover. That's, like you said, that's what college football is all about nowadays. But I can't comment on what that will look like, but we're going to look all over and find the best fit for us. Right, and no different than recruiting. It's not about just taking the 4-star. It's about finding the best fit for our locker and the culture that we're creating.
Coach Hunter mentioned Nate Allen a while ago, and as odd as this is, the last conversation I had with him Sunday, the last thing he said to me is, will you ask Coach if he plans to have anyone on his staff from Arkansas? He said, I'm too sick to go. And that was Sunday. That's the last thing he said to me. Can you address that? I mean, I feel neglectful if I didn't ask you.
No, listen, and I have much respect for you asking that question on its behalf. As we assemble the staff, listen, people that understand this great state, that's important to me. Okay, and not only I think about this. I think about my nights in the Bass Pro Shop pyramid overlooking, and I'd always point out to the recruits and say, "See that bridge right there? That goes to the great state of Arkansas." And we've had a lot of players I've been able to coach, and I've recruited this wonderful state for so long, and had relationships. In fact, I think I was looking at it even when I was talking to Hunter. I think a third of the guys on the roster already at the University of Arkansas, at some point, I'd had a conversation with over the last 4 or 5 years. Quincy, I was his first offer out of high school, and he won't admit how small he was when I first offered him. And that relationship, I just think like, man, it comes full circle. And there's some of these guys. I was sitting down with some of these players that I was sharing with Hunter that a couple of them, they're like, well, you beat me at this previous school, then you beat me this past year. I'm staying part of this team because I don't want to have to go against you again. But we will look for people in the staff that make sense. I assume that there are going to be some people with some good ties to this great state and this wonderful university. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Coach Ryan, Evan Camico, Pig Trail Nation. Curious for you, you were involved in the Memphis community. What excites you about getting involved in the Arkansas community here in Northwest Arkansas? As last night, yelling in fans' faces as well. What just excites you about the future here?
Yeah, I mean, if you can't go and see what those the students, absolutely amazing. They kept me from doing it. I was gonna put on one of those overalls with the stripes on it, but they didn't know. I mean, I thought it was going to be pretty cool, but I withheld myself. But those students got me fired up, and that's that passion of the fan base. I mean, just seeing it. From the moment I touched down, the first thing we went and we watched, and I got to talk to Coach Cal and how much he loves this place, and I got to hear about those things. And then you think about the Children's Hospital of Northwest Arkansas. Like, to me, we're going to give back to this community. My wife and I are going to do everything we can to make this place as great of a place as we can. And how can we give back? Like, what are some community things that we can do? We were 5th in the country at Memphis last year in community service hours. And to me, that's as important as anything we do, because I think if we can give back to the community, right, it means so much. And a lot of those people are going to be, in the stands and being season ticket holders. So whatever we can do, I'm all part of it. And, I know there's a Veteran Affairs, there's a VA hospital here. Like, that was something I was huge with in Memphis, giving tickets to the vets. As soon as it slows down, if it ever does, maybe February, I'm going to get out and want to visit with the VA and see how we can help them. There's so many great organizations and so many great people in this community. My family and I are going to do everything we possibly can to give back.
Last one for me. You had those two guys over there just come in here and say they're all in for you. What excited you about getting those guys back for 2026?
Well, listen, it starts with the type of, and I'm not trying to repeat myself. It starts with the type of young men there, because I had an understanding of who they were, and anybody can watch film and know that they're super talented, and know that there's also, like I told them, I said, guys, we haven't scratched the surface, and they know both that. Like, that's why I said I'm going to push them, I'm going to challenge them. And when they sit there and say, "You're right, absolutely," and you sit down with a kid and you tell them you're going to push them and hold them accountable, and they start sweating and batting eye. I'm like, cool, get out of my office. Good luck to you. But those two, it's the mindset, the integrity, the approach. They want to be leaders. They want to see this team succeed, right? I told them, like, there's no more of this loser mentality. And they've bought into it. And in a quick term, and they're going to be the ones that infect the rest of the locker room in a positive manner and say, hey, this is what it is. This is what it looks like to be all in. This is what our culture is about. This is what Arkansas football needs to look like. So guess what? Just like what everybody said, wow, great first week. We're not even, I think I've been here for like 10 months, but I think I've been, a couple of days. Like, wait till the week keeps going on. Wait till the weekend. We're not sleeping, okay? We're going to build this thing the right way. And again, it starts with the great players that are already on this roster.
Yeah, Anthony Christensen. Okay. Anthony Christensen, HawkSports.com. Ryan, I just got to see a little bit of it when Arkansas played at Memphis earlier this year, but I guess just what are the main, aspects of an identity you want for your first year, with the roster, with the coaching staff, et cetera?
Yeah. I'm not going to give you a coach speak answer, okay? Just no different when people say, give us here's the deal. You're going to have a bunch of guys that love football. A bunch of guys that are going to be tough, a bunch of guys that are going to be resilient, a bunch of guys that are going to love each other, a bunch of guys that are going to work really hard to make this state proud. And that shows up in between the white lines. right? I truly believe, like, right, there's a direct correlation to how we do things off the field, the culture that we're going to build. It shows up on game day. And when people watch this, they're going to say, man, that team plays with relentless effort. That team cares about one another. And they're going to be disciplined, they're going to be detailed, and they're going to fight their asses every single day to give everything they have.
Brian, congratulations, welcome. I heard a cut of yours in a recent interview about this is not a 3-year turnaround. This is something that we're going to turn around in a hurry. What's your message to the fan base for how and why that will happen?
Well, it is. This is a different day and age. Things do take time. Right, the culture to build, you have to build that every single day, and that's what it's going to start with. And you're going to have to put the pieces together. And when I say it's going to happen, people say, well, project the number ones. I can't do that. I can tell you this, we're going to be the best in the country at what we can control. And that's right, the attitude, the effort, the approach every single day. Those things, we're going to be the absolute best in the country. But that's something we got to work to build. And there's going to be some people that are currently on the roster that are going to be back that we're going to have to make sure, hey, it may take a little bit more pressing. But these freshmen we're going to bring in, these young guys, we're going to have to develop them, right? We're going to recruit the heck out of high school football players and develop them. We're going to be the best in the country at developing. But what that looks like, similar to what Hunter said, is we're already starting to see a movement in how these guys are believing and what they want and a positive mindset. I already told them, like, we're changing out light bulbs the other night. I said, I want brighter light bulbs down here. And someone looked at me like, what? I said, yeah, not like next month. I said, no, tonight, if I got to go to Walmart myself and start changing them out, I will. But that's part of it. I want these guys to say, man, this is different. This is going to feel different. And we're going to go earn everything we do. But, oh, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, when I FaceTiming her and at 12:30, she says, "Where are you at?" I'm still at the office. I'm up on a ladder changing some bulbs. No, it's just part of it, and I think it's a one step at a time deal. We're going to take this one day at a time, but if you do it the right way, it's going to show up in results on Saturdays.
Hunter, just one quick one on the logistics. When we talked to you, when the change was made, you were one of the first ones in this cycle to make the coaching change. A lot more follow. Did maybe the number of openings complicate the search at all?
Not really, Daniel. I mean, I think we're all kind of swimming in the same pond with the same coaching candidates when it all came to, when you saw how it all kind of fell out and fell into place. Many of the people that were in the final 8 or 9 that I talked to are now head coaches at other institutions, and so you do have to wait till some dominoes fall for sure. But I don't know that it overcomplicated things because there's always a lot of openings. This was an inordinate amount of openings, but it didn't necessarily overcomplicate it. It gave me an opportunity again during those 60 days to talk to the right number of coaches, determine who was truly interested, who was truly a good fit, who was not interested, who was trying to get a raise at their current institution, things of that nature, and then really narrow that field down to a group of quality coaches.
Hi, Ryan.
Alrighty, you have been listening in there to a press conference happening earlier today from KATV. We are now going to go to some other news.